before we get into anything, I want to say that this is not a sponsored video. I bought both these tents with my own money. This one served me well for 5 years, and as I start to bring more of my family members along, I want to get another one, and this baby came out just in time. So I do have links in the description here for both these tents and a couple different odds and ends I've used over the years. So if you would like, it'd be really helpful if you clicked any of these links. If you're interested in these tents, it helps out the channel and doesn't cost you anything. So without further ado, let's dive in. And for all you that are curious, this is what the new box looks like. You can already tell that it's more compact, but they did a pretty good job on the packaging, and it shipped from Amazon in another bag around this, so or rather a box. So it's a box within a box. So here's the bag out of the box. It's nice, kind of like navy-ish material, but I'll show these things side by side once you get in the yard here in some sunlight. And then this is what they look like side by side in the back of my truck. That's a 4.5 foot bed to, you know, about here, 7 foot to the bumper or to the end of the tailgate. It's definitely a bit bulkier, considering that this is not, you know, how any package you get, you try to stuff everything back in there how nicely it came. That's what's going on here. This is from the factory, so I can only imagine it's going to be a bit more bulky, but that's all fine. So that's what you're working with. All right, let's go get these things set up. You know, these kind of forget how big these tents are. I think you can set them up in some small areas, but that is not the case. After I get these set up, I'm going to go ahead and show you all some benefits with this bag I'm already seeing, which are looks pretty nice. But I will show you that on the pack up, because that's when it becomes a problem. Okay. All right. Just taking a look at how this thing's. It's got some pretty slick upgrades. So they both have one of these. Recommend you not. I was gonna say not lose it. This is really helpful to keep a wrangle on the tent in order to get it back in the bag. Although it's never difficult. Gazelle gives you oversized bags, which are super helpful. Footprint. Rain fly. I'll fold it up nicely. First and last time that'll ever happen. Get these out of the way more. Oh wow. So yeah, if you haven't read any of the news on this tent, what they changed, you probably can notice it right now. They put the hub much lower, and that presumably allows them to change the geometry for how this thing packs up to make it shorter. It's a little different. Okay. Still, it has a super high quality zippers. This feels like it's probably their newer mesh they use on their gazebos. Still no seam proof, but does a much better job at airflow, which will be huge. That's the one thing I'm excited about this tent, is what they're calling it extended season. As the current one, you can take the whole rain fly off, and it allows you to get more airflow through it. But that's a kind of a process to go and take the whole rain fly off, because you got to unhook the sides and everything. It's just more involved than I'd like, especially when you're chasing kids around. Yep. And so with this, if they've actually, you'll see the windows are larger, the doors are larger, and if the screens have more airflow, then that might solve that problem entirely. Okay, one thing I'm seeing is the rainfly poles are no different than the current, or the old solution they had, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I have busted a few from user error, but we'll take a look at that. Okay. All right. I'm liking what I'm seeing. All right, I rotated the new one around so you can see what it looks like with the doors on the same side. Now I will say that, like, they claim the doors are larger. I believe they claim the doors are larger. I don't know if I see that. This, for what it's worth, could probably zip open a bit more. Okay, maybe not. Maybe it's like a ½ inch. No, it's identical. I don't know what they're claiming with that. But the doors weren't really an issue to begin with. Maybe it's on the inside. Okay, no, that's right. Maybe it's like an inch or two. I don't know. I'm not going to measure it. You can make your own judgment there. That was never an issue. But man, by the eyeball, it does look larger. I'll shut up about the doors. The big win here are these much larger windows. Those ones are already open. I'll open this. Oh, wow. Yeah, okay. That's a big improvement. Yeah, and I have to say, and they've got, okay, now they use little tabs for you to tie off the windows. I'll go ahead and pick up the camera and walk everyone through this now, but you can see just the difference here side by side. The size of this whole window, it's got a nice little flap over it to probably help from some rain coming in the sills, but that's great amongst this guy. This were never it wasn't a problem, but a bigger window is not, or is welcomed. You can also see the rainfly looks like it dips lower, which of course really has to do with the lowered hub here, but I wonder if that's going to help with the wind too, because this one would sometimes catch some wind, and it wouldn't ever make much noise, but we've been camping one time, my buddy's got one of these, and in the Sierras, huge storm came in the middle of the night and ripped this thing up and off. We didn't have it staked down, so that's more our fault, but this might help a little bit, and this looks like it's a bit of an elastic too. Okay, we'll grab the camera and I'll walk you all around this thing. So if you don't know much about the old Gazelle, the T4, again, this is not the Overland. You can tell, nice and used, smells like campfire the way God intended. These things are great. I mean, look at these huge storage pockets. I'm on the wide angle, but that thing is, these are massive. Usually what I do is I'll, all the sleeping bags, the stuff sacks and everything from everything we use will just go into one of these bad boys. There's one on each corner or side. And then up here, you can stuff jackets and other materials, kind of lighter weight stuff. Sometimes I put headlamps, whatever. It's just easy to find in the middle of the night. But these are great. And then you've got this overhead storage as well. You just kind of hang a lantern here. There's a string up here too, which you can just hang a lantern on that as well. But you can see they're great. The windows, so here's the difference here. On the new one, you'll see there's actually, let me switch the zoom. So the new one, there's actually going to be a loop that you actually can roll this up and tie it off. For these, you can't do it really with one hand, but if you roll this well enough, because there's this little, like, you know, I don't know, pocket down here, it can stuff into itself, especially if you roll it up nice. Makes it real nice and easy. But with a new, larger window, they went with a different approach. One thing about Gazelle tents, the floor completely unvelcros off, and so you can clean it. Done it once or twice, I think maybe just once actually. I've been everywhere with this tent, desert, mountains, what have you. I even rarely put a tarp down or any type of footprint, and this is not the robust one, and I've never had a single issue. These are quality tents, so I couldn't recommend that enough. The hubs are going to be different. So here, there's no padding or anything like that. I did recently get one of the gazebos, and it looks like they're using the same type of little foam pads on there. I'm assuming that's because when it packs down, they don't want it to dig holes into the floor. All right, so now what I really haven't loved with Gazelles, my only one flaw that I would say, I'm not going to be able to show you this probably too well. Let's take a look. Is the rainfly mechanism. And the way they do this is this pull right? And you just stick it into this corner here. And as you can see, I've got some, where'd it go? Some rips up there. User error, it's because I'll try to pull this thing down before I've unhooked these little tabs. That's all on me. The beautiful thing though about Gazelle, I can complain about that all I want. They sell replacement parts. This rod, $8. At least last time I did it, probably a year or two ago. $8 to replace that. I mean, that's incredible. A little bit of right to repair for you. I think the whole rainfly, now that I have a rip in it, would be $80. I haven't gone to do that yet because I'm in the Southwest and it doesn't rain so much here. So, all right, enough about the old one. Let's look at the new T4 EXP. So I'll get into the new stuff in a minute here, but just take a look at, here's the hubs. So now they're putting these foam pads on it. So hopefully that helps with longevity of the tent. And this is a much larger screen, or rather window. Go wide. So, okay, there's some changes here. For one, we don't have those big pockets, the big square pockets in all these. They've moved to this approach, 2 smaller pockets. Interesting. Not sure if I love that, but they added these giant windows, so trade-offs. We'll look at that in a minute. I mentioned this earlier, but this screen, I'm almost positive, is a different mesh, and I can actually feel more airflow than I feel like I would in the other tent. So still no seam, of course, but they let more airflow through, which will be fantastic. And then this is also a huge bonus. So this still has, I haven't set it up yet, but the cage up here that you can hang stuff with, or rather, you know, hang stuff up here as more storage, put your hat up there, your lantern, whatnot. But with the old Gazelle, as you saw, it's all screens up top, and then the rainfly goes on top to actually give you a bit more to hold any of the heat in. But basically this whole thing is a screen room. And here you actually can zip up and trap heat inside the tent, which is huge for extending, you know, the seasonal use of this tent. I've got a diesel heater, which we use when we go real cold camping to keep the, you know, kids and wife happy. But that's going to go a long way, even when it's just me. And then, speaking of diesel heaters, they've added 2 ports. So switch this into here. They've added 2 different ports that you can cinch up, where you can have, you know, HVAC, whether you want to do diesel heater or one of those wave, you know, EcoFlow waves or whatever the couple other brands are, zero breeze or something. And you can also have, you know, the ducting come in and out, so you can kind of recycle the air in here to keep it colder or warmer. And then this is the, yep, goes out there. This is the zipper they've got for running cabling, so you can run your solar cables into some kind of power source, or if you have your like EcoFlow jack or whatnot in here, you can have your 12-volt line going out to run your diesel heater or whatnot. So that's pretty nice. I would used to just frankly zip up my door in the other tent, and right about this height somewhere I would have my port stuck through, which obviously left huge gaps. I know they sell 3D printed parts you can buy on like Etsy and whatnot, but those don't really like high heat, and I'm not trying to put VOCs in me while I sleep. So construction, everywhere else is just top notch as always. Not sure why there's tabs up here. Interesting. Maybe it's just options to hang more things, which is pretty cool. There's a bunch of them here. Every corner's got them, so that's nice. And like I mentioned, with the window, you can tie it off. Looks like there's still enough that you can tuck it down here too, so that just might be a little extra help. And then let's take a look at these windows. Okay, so same difference. This one definitely has enough where you can just tuck it in there. But yeah, this is going to be so much better to have all that breeze coming through. I can already feel it. I've only got, what, 1 window and the door's kind of half open. That's awesome. This is the difference between the hub height. So it is pretty drastic drop, which is good. And I did say, but I didn't notice, so this has those big old pockets up here. There's only 2 of them. And on the new tent, it's actually on all 4 sides. So that's great. So you do lose the big pockets down here on the bottom sections, but you do get these little, you know, 4 of these, I don't know what you want to call those, smaller pockets, and you get 4 up top. So they definitely still try to give you as much storage as they could fit in this bad boy. All right, one other important thing they changed is this like foot tie down. So like I said, my buddy's got one of these. He's used it 5 years, just as much as I've had. I think he's like, there's one in each corner and one in the middle on the old T4. I think he's lost like 3 of these. 4 of these have been fully torn off. And then on the new one, it's now hard plastic. It's a whole new footing. So it's like much more structure back here. Is that plastic or metal? It might be metal, maybe aluminum. But now you can just drive a stake right through that. Way more anchored down than like this slack that this would have. So they definitely had some concerns. You can even see it's pretty robustly sewn in here versus how it was handled in the old one. So that's a plus. And I also didn't catch, but there's actually another cable slot on that side. So there's one on each side. But anything else I noticed? One last thing, which will be kind of nice for those who like to hang up different types of lights. There really wasn't a great way to do so on the T4. You could kind of tuck it up under here where there was a gap in the pole, but that wasn't always super great. It looks like there's these little loops at the end of each corner here, so you could use those to tie up a you know, string lights or what have you to light up camp. And they've done a little bit more of a rivet in here. So I think that's that. Now let's go take a look at the bags and we can talk about a couple of odds and ends and nice touches they did with the new one. Okay. Again, mine I got years ago, 5 years ago or so. The stakes it came with, not this bag. They're in another bag, were terrible. I don't even know if they sell those anymore. They were just, you know, one hammer hit, they were folded. I grabbed this set off of Amazon. There's like 12 stakes in here. I'm doing this with one hand. 12 huge steel stakes with these little glow-in-the-dark tips. Comes with a nice hammer. Those are the guy lines that the tent came with. These have been great. They hammer in real nice. Haven't had any issues. I beat the heck out of them. Would recommend. It was only like, they're less than 20 bucks. I'll put a link in the description so you guys can check them out. But the one thing about this tent is you got to stuff this in after the fact. I mean, you can put it in before, so you're putting it at the bottom of the tent. But as you're trying to get the tent in the bag, this kind of always gets in the way of the foot of it. So you slipped it in after. But what they've done with the new tent is they actually put a pouch on the outside of the bag, real classy with one foot, one hand, and oh nice, they got little tips on them too so you don't stab through the bag. I've actually used these just the other weekend camping with my the gazebo Gazelle that I have, same stake. Actually, I felt like there were sharper ridges on the other one, but these things are great. You just dig them right into the ground, screw them in, held really strong, and they give you a bunch. No hammer, but these you're supposed to be able to screw in with your hand. So it's a nice touch. They add it to the outside, and also the bottom of this bag is padded, so you can put more weight on there, and it's not going to tear through the bag. So they've definitely put a lot of TLC in the bag as well. And this is like a rainproof, you know, Gore-Tex type of material, whereas this one is not. I'm sure if you had the overland bag for the old T4, it's probably similar to this. I know it's a little bit different color, but yeah, it's great. And then again, I haven't used a footprint in the my old one over 5 years, had no problems, but it looks like this actually comes with a few stakes as well. And I've seen like in the materials, it looks like it hooks on pretty well. Also well thought through. So yeah, I will put links in the description for both of these things. I'll put links in the description for both of these tents. There's different price brackets. This one still is an incredible tent. I think they've tweaked a couple things over the years, especially along with those stakes that you get. I'm pretty sure you get different ones now. Easy to upgrade if not. And then this one's great. I mean, again, there's pros and cons, right? If you're a huge stargazer, you're not going to have that in this tent as much as the old ones you can see here versus here where it's just all screen. So if you do want to take off the rainfly, that one's going to be more open up top. But otherwise, great tent. Do recommend. I can tell you that because I've used the absolute heck out of the other one, and this one is upgraded in a lot of thoughtful ways that I will appreciate. Thank you all. See you in the next one.